wind project at Walcha. Now I'm taking for read what was provided for me by the local member up there. Apparently the intention is to purchase a local caravan park, which would remove almost 30% of the entire short-term accommodation beds from town. That's obviously a huge hit to the tourism and the local economy. Does this, you believe, fall in line with your guidelines that state that you're probably familiar with, but must apply mitigation measures to ensure it will not generate social impacts such as decreasing housing affordability or impacting tourism?
So, Mr. Barrett, I don't have any specific details around Winterbourne, but obviously take the advice that you've received there, on board. From our perspective, obviously one of the key aspects of looking at these projects is looking at the amount of workers and construction workers that will be coming in associated with these projects. Some councils, and recently I had the opportunity of going out, I think I mentioned before, out to Dubbo and Mudgee and Golgong and in that area. We got to talk to some of the councils. Some councils are taking an approach which is trying to look at providing additional accommodation within their LGAs, within their urban areas. Some councils, such as Midwestern and Warrumbungle, have certainly talked about providing, having those projects actually provide their own accommodation camps. And so, from our perspective, we want to make sure that the impacts that are associated with either building those accommodation camps or associated with additions to the urban areas are taken into account. We also mentioned a little bit earlier today that we've been doing some cumulative impact work, looking at some of these matters, looking at housing requirements, and Ms. Gibson's team's also been assisting with this, looking at housing requirements within these renewable energy zones as well.
So what levers do you have to pull if this is having an impact, and when do you pull them?
So with regard to specifically assessing a project, the levers we have is to, make sure that the provision of accommodation or services associated with construction workers coming in on those projects is taken into consideration. So an example would be, we have looked at a number of projects where they're proposing their own accommodation camps. So part of the assessment of that project is actually looking at the impacts of that and the way that accommodation camp is going to work. So they're the sorts of levers that we have. We also look at the capacity within towns, if accommodation camps aren't being proposed, to actually accommodate those, and we have conversations with councils in doing that assessment.
Noting you said you weren't familiar specific with this one, are you able to provide me some advice on notice about the Winterbourne?
Happy to do that. Yep.
Thank you. One more final one for me, and it follows on from that same line. Is there any reason we can't look to sort of legacy infrastructure left by these camps that you're talking about? And I'm not saying with all of them. I know some of them are a bit far away from town, but some of these camps, is there an option that we could require that they leave the infrastructure there, the curb and guttering, the connectivity, the services?
Look, Mr. Barrett, I think absolutely. Certainly, that's one of the that's something that we heard from councils when we were recently out talking to councils and looking at those areas. As you say, we looked at the Marotheri camp that's being set up for the Central West Orana transmission line. That is a long way from any major centre. It's quite some distance from Golgong and from Dunedoo. But you're absolutely right. I think where there's opportunities to make use of that infrastructure, or even to recycle and make use of some of the infrastructure that's associated with these are definitely things that we're keen to work with councils and with applicants.
Can I ask a possibly weird question? Who has a responsibility for naming these camps?
That is a strange question. I think it is the proponent. It's certainly not us.
I suspect it would be the applicant, Mr. Barrett.
I'd love to be the person who names things.
Yeah, I mean the Marotheri camp. as
There
I-
you go. Just add it to the list of jobs. You know?
The Marotheri camp that I mentioned before, that's part of the Energy Co. ACE Res. I think the consortium that's building that project has named it. I think they've named it based on a geographical name, but I'm actually not sure. So I agree with Ms. Fishburne that I think it's actually an applicant-led nomination.
Okay. Thank you. I might. Yeah. Thank you. I'm
You
done.
done? Okay, cool. Thank you.